Good morning YouTubians, it's Kermit's Ghost. It's Monday, it's a Blu-ray release day. It's a beautiful day here on the seafront. Going to head up to HMV and see what is out. I'm actually out to 3 titles today, but I've got a lot to show you at the end because I had 2 parcels arrive from Imprint Films in Australia, and also got a Father's Day gift to show you. So it's going to be in excess of 20 films. So I'm going to head up to HMV, grab a coffee along the way, not a sponsor, and then I'll take you back, show you what I picked up. I'll see you all up in the town in just a bit. Cheers. Beautiful. So now I've finished my latte, I'm heading into Brighton's HMV shop. There are a lot of titles out today, so let's see how HMV do. Okay, we're going to start off with arguably the biggest title of the week, and that is Avatar: Way of Water. This is available in all formats, apart from VHS, it would seem. This is the first standard Blu-ray priced at $14.99, comes with a slipcover. Then we move on to the 4K, which is a Blu-ray combo, priced at $24.99. Then we move on to the standard DVD. It does not come with a slipcover, this one, but priced reasonably at $9.99. Then, unusual for the UK, we have a 3D version, also comes with a regular 2D, so it's a combo, and that is priced at $21.99. Last but not least, we have the 3D Steelbook, and that is priced at $29.99. Apparently there is a 4K Steelbook, but I couldn't find it anywhere in the store, so I couldn't film that for you today. Next is a Dazzler Media release of The Laureate. This is a drama from 2021 starring Tom Hughes, Diana Agron, Laura Haddock, Sir Derek Jacobi and Julian Glover. $14.99 for the Blu-ray and $9.99 for the DVD. This one has a total runtime of 85 minutes. So next is the standard release of All Quiet on the Western Front. This epic war film from last year. It was previously released on April 24th at £35, but I will be picking this one up as it is priced at $14.99. Next title is Infinity Pool. This is a science fiction horror from this year starring Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth. This has got a runtime 118 minutes and is priced at $17.99. Next title is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. It's an animated comedy from 2021, and this has got the voice talents of Jenny Slate and Isabella Rossellini. With a runtime just 89 minutes, this will set you back $14.99 for the Blu-ray and £9.99 for the DVD. Neither comes with a slipcover. Next is a Studio Canal release of Le Mépris. This is also known as Contempt. This 1963 drama stars Brigitte Bardot, Fritz Lang and Jack Palance. Got a runtime 103 minutes and is directed by Jean-Luc Godard. Blu-ray is priced at $14.99, the 4K at $19.99, and they both come with slipcovers. Next is a Signal One release of Angels Hard As They Come. It's an action drama from 1971 about 2 gangs that are partying in a ghost town, all having fun till someone is killed and it all kicks off. This is priced at $12.99. Next we have The Five Devils, a French fantasy from last year, and it comes with a slipcover. It's got a runtime 103 minutes and carries a 15 certificate. This will set you back $14.99. Next is the BFI release of The Driver's Seat. This Italian 1974 drama stars Elizabeth Taylor. It's got a runtime 105 minutes. It's priced at $16.99. And here we have the Criterion release for The Kid, a 1921 silent comedy drama starring Charlie Chaplin and Jackie Coogan as the Kid. Carl Miller and Edna Purviance play the kid's parents. This is priced at $22.99. Another French drama, this time Pacifiction. This is from last year, set on the island of Tahiti and dealing with nuclear testing. This will set you back $14.99. Next is a Pakistani drama directed by Saim Sadiq. It's about an unemployed young man, Haider, who takes on a job as a backup dancer in an erotic theatre, only to become obsessed with a trans woman who is in charge. This will set you back $14.99. Next is Triple Cross from Signal One Entertainment. This 1966 World War II film stars Christopher Plummer and Yul Brynner. It's got a PG certificate and is priced at $12.99. Next is the 4K release of Hard Target. This 1993 action thriller stars Jean-Claude Van Damme and Lance Henriksen. No slipcover on this one today, and this is priced at $19.99. Another 4K, this time the 1983 family comedy National Lampoon's Vacation. It's a Warner Brothers release with that really odd slipcover. This is £19.99. And officially out this week, but I did see it on the shelf last week, it's a Criterion release of Smooth Talk, a romantic drama from 1985 starring Treat Williams and Laura Dern. $22.99 for this one. So before I show you this last item, I'm going to say a big thank you to HMV. You had great stock in today. You had 99% of releases. There were a few pushbacks, so brilliant job. Now this is the Enter the Video Store Empire of Screens box set from Arrow. It features the Dungeon Master, Dolls, Cellar Dweller, Arena and Robot Jocks. This is a limited edition set and it will set you back $54.99. It's got a runtime 427 minutes. Hey everybody, welcome back. Well, there's a fair few to get through today. The bottom two are from Imprint Films, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave this one till maybe a week or so's time, because I'm not going to have time to get through all of this. I may put some pictures up on Instagram though, so look out for those. But let's crack on with this lot. There's got to be over 20 titles there, so I'm going to get on with it. Okay, so I have two boxes of goodies here from Imprint Films. The top one arrived while I was on holiday on the Norfolk Broads, and I left it a week so I could watch all the content. The second one arrived Saturday morning, and I've watched all but one of the titles, so I'll go over those as well. But there's something else in here as well that Imprint has sent me, so let's have a look at that first, and then we'll go over the movies. So this was inside. Feels like a cup. And it is of The Gambler. It is from Imprint Films. That is nice. I didn't request that, so that is nice that turned up. I don't know if you can see there's got the Imprint logo on the inside. Lovely. That will go in the cupboard, and I will use that in future videos. Okay, I'm going to start off with The Great Gatsby. Now, this 1949 movie is the second feature film that's been made of the drama, which is based on the F. Scott Fitzgerald novel of the same name. All that remains of the first silent movie is now the trailer, and I'll explain a little bit why later in the video. This stars Alan Ladd as the title character, who was 36 years old when they filmed this, and he's playing that enigmatic man who lives this lavish lifestyle but comes from humble beginnings. In fact, he starts out as a deckhand, and that's where he first meets and falls in love with Daisy Buchanan, who's being played by Betty Field. You may know her from either Coogan's Bluff or Birdman of Alcatraz. Now, she rejects his affections at first because she's married to Dan Cody, a much older man, being played by Henry Hull. And it's safe to say that she's a gold digger, because the moment that he passes away, she throws herself at Gatsby, but in turn, he rejects her. So he cut to 11 years later, and he wants to undo that mistake, and he arranges to meet her through this third party. Turns out, she's since remarried again to a man called Tom Buchanan, who's being played by Barry Sullivan, who you may know was in High Chaparral. And he is cheating on her with Myrtle Wilson, who's being played by Shelley Winters, who actually went on to work with Alan Ladd again in the Canadian Western, try and say it properly, Alan, Saskatchewan. That was 6 years later. They do, however, hit it off in the film, but disaster lurks just around the corner. But don't worry, I'm not going to give it away. Now, this was directed by Elliot Nugent, the man behind The Cat and the Canary, which starred Bob Hope. As for picture quality, the film has got a lot of damage, a lot of scratches, a lot of grain. This is a 4K scanner of the original negative, so probably the best it will ever look. It doesn't take anything away from the enjoyment of the movie. I'll explain a little bit more a little bit later. And on a side note, it points out in the audio commentary that Alan Ladd, who was only 5'6", actually stands on a box in some scenes, and you can see him in the movie trying to look tall. Very entertaining, sometimes violent. The movie's got a runtime of 1 hour 31 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So the slip box and the cover have a different image. The image from the slip box has been put onto the disc. And on the reverse of the inner cover, you can see one of the lavish parties that Gatsby is throwing. So that was the 1949 version of The Great Gatsby, which brings me on to that lost film. So it was commonplace for studios back in the day that when a new version of the movie came out, they would burn or destroy the originals, as they didn't want cinemas to keep cashing in on showing reruns. They wanted you to see the latest version. They had obviously no idea that later on down the line people want to see the older versions as well, or actually own physical copies for themselves. So all that remains of the 1926 silent version is the trailer. For now anyway. They might find a copy somewhere in their vaults one day or in someone's attic. And I can't imagine many original copies of this version survived as well. So this may be the best it will ever look. So we have to be thankful that this has been preserved on Blu-ray. Okay, next title to show you is Uptight. And this is a drama, actually I would say it's more of a neo-noir, made in 1968, directed by Jules Dassin, who directed the 1944 original version of The Canterville Ghost. This is set just a few days after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., which is on the 4th of April 1968, and it follows a man called Tank, being played by Junior Mayfield, who is shunned by his community because he lets down a friend during an arms robbery because he was too drunk, and that leads to a mistake and the killing of a security guard on the job. And the weapons they intended to steal were for a violent uprising against the black community's oppressors. The man responsible for the robbery's murder is Johnny Wells. In all the confusion, he left his jumper behind at the scene with his name in the label. Rookie mistake. John is played by Max Julian, and a reward is put up for $1,000 for his capture, which brings me on to Clarence, known locally as Daisy, being played by Roscoe Lee Brown. He's a police informant who tries to bribe Tank via a compromising photograph into the whereabouts of the fugitive. Tank, who's rejected by everybody and thinking he can't sink any lower, seeks the comfort of his girlfriend Laurie, being played by Ruby Dee, and he just makes matters worse for her when he assaults her assigned welfare officer. And then he finds out he's been portrayed by his so-called good friend. And I'm going to leave it there, but this does not bode well for Tank or have a happy ending. Excellent film. The picture quality was incredibly good. Shot mostly at night, but the images were crystal clear and the colours were really vibrant. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 44 minutes, all but 1 second. Let's take a look inside. So we've got the slip box and we have the cover. Both have a different image, both of Tank in the movie, and he's not looking so good. Again, the slip box image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the inner cover you can see there's an image of Tank being followed by Daisy the informant. So that was Uptight. I actually thought I was going to enjoy this movie, but pleasantly surprised. That is a must watch. Next title to show you is Bus Riley's Back in Town. This is a drama from 1965 and it's directed by Harvey Hart, who went on to work mainly in television. Bus Riley, the title character, is being played by Michael Parks, who's actually worked with Tarantino on a few projects like Kill Bill 1 and 2, From Dusk Till Dawn, Grindhouse and Django Unchained. But in this, he's just finished serving 3 years in the Navy and he's looking for a fresh start. Now he's got 2 sisters, Gussie being played by Kim Darby and Paula being played by Minzy Farmer. His mother is actually Jocelyn Brando, who is Marlon Brando's older sister, and he finds out from his mother that his childhood sweetheart, Laura Lincoln, who's being played by Anne Margaret, has since moved on and she has married a wealthy older man. This was made just a year after she appeared in Viva Las Vegas with Elvis, so that would have made her around about 24 years old in this movie. Now Bus's friend Spence, being played by Cran Denton in his last acting role, offers him a job as a mortician despite being a very talented mechanic, but his friend implies that he wants a little bit of male companionship in return for the job, if you know what I mean. Bus isn't tempted at all, and he's later offered a job selling vacuum cleaners and some kind of chemical device that kills bacteria, and he's doing that door to door, and lots of married women constantly throw themselves at him. I'm going to leave it there, but this didn't exactly head where I thought it was going to head. Picture quality is okay overall. There are a few grainy scenes and some soft focusing on night shots, but on the whole it's good considering its age. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 33 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So again, the slip box and the cover have a different image, and there's an image on both of them of Bus and Laura Lincoln. The image from the slip box has been put onto the disc. And there's an image on the reverse of the cover of Bus and Laura having a heated discussion at the swimming pool. So that was Bus Riley's Back in Town. Okay, next title, which is an adventure film from 1962 but set in 1936, is The Spiral Road. This is directed by Robert Mulligan, who made To Kill a Mockingbird in the same year. And this is set on an Indonesian island called Java, where Dr. Anton Drager, who's being played by Rock Hudson, arrives at this Dutch-owned medical facility with a bunch of fellow doctors. But he's got desires to work alone with the specialist Dr. Brits Jansen, who's being played by Beryl Ives. Now Brits is in this remote location upriver in this village being plagued by leprosy and cholera, and Anton on his way to him meets this drunk called Harry Frolic. He later becomes animalistic and attacks Anton, forcing him to retaliate by shooting him to death in self-defense, and we find out a little bit why that happens in the movie. Harry is played by Philip Abbott. Now Dr. Brits Jansen is this larger than life character. In the first scene he turns up smoking this huge cigar with several sticks of dynamite sticking out from his shirt. Turns out that he's been in the jungle and on this island for the last 30 years treating the locals, and he is very well respected, to be fair. And after the disease forces the pair to burn the village to the ground, they move on to this more well-equipped village of Mampuku, which is downriver, where Anton's love interest, Els Van Dien, played by Jean Rowlands, turns up, resulting in this impulsive wedding. I'm not going to say any more on that about the story, but there's a lot going on in this film all the way through, including a creepy performance by Reggie Nalder, the local witch doctor called Barubi. Reggie was Needles in the film Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Very long movie, maybe about 30 minutes too long, but the performances are all convincing, picture quality is solid, and the story is engaging. It's got a runtime of 2 hours 19 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So there is a slip box and there is the cover, and as you can see on the slip box there, you've got Els there who marries Dr. Anton, and there you've got Dr. Brit there being played by Beryl Ives. The slip box image has been put onto the disc, and on the reverse of the cover they have put another image from the film. So that was The Spiral Road from 1962. Okay, next title is Damage. It's a drama from 1992, directed by Louis Malle in his penultimate movie, and this stars the fantastic Jeremy Irons as Dr. Stephen Fleming. He's a physician turned Tory MP, and his life's turned upside down when he becomes obsessed with his son's fiancée Anna Barton, who is being played by the stunningly beautiful Juliette Binoche. Now, the attraction between them is immediate, but eventually devastating to all those around them. Probably most of all his son Martin, portrayed by Rupert Graves, and you'll probably know him from the films either Madness of King George or Made in Dagenham, or even the TV show Sherlock, where he played D. Ida Strad. Now, this story is based on a novel which was written a year earlier by Josephine Hart, but it was adapted for the silver screen by David Hare, and it was also remade as a mini-series on Netflix this year, and it was renamed Obsession, where you had Richard Armitage taking over the role of Stephen Fleming, although his name was changed. Stephen's portrayed wife in this is Ingrid, being brilliantly portrayed by Miranda Richardson, who went on to win the BAFTA for her performance, which was stunning. And I've got to say, it amazes me that Stephen, despite having everything in life, a loving wife, family, huge, beautiful house, incredible, successful career, risked it all for a bit of hanky-panky. But then again, it was Juliette Binoche. This also stars Julian Fellowes as a friend, a fellow MP, and David Thewlis as a detective. I will say the sex scenes in this are a little bit odd, as they look like they're fighting one another. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong, who knows. Anyway, the picture quality on this is very good. The story was engaging, and as you would expect, acting was impeccable. This got a runtime 1 hour 51 minutes. Let's take a look inside. The slip box and the cover have a different image. The disc has an image from the front slip box, and on the reverse of the cover is an image of one of those questionable sex scenes. So that was Damage. Next two titles are in one pack, but they're on separate discs, and it is Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. Now, both movies come with theatrical and director's cuts. The first one's a 2007 reimagining of 1978 classic horror, and both of these movies are directed by Rob Zombie, who also wrote them and co-produced them. Let's get on with it. So Halloween 2007 starts out with this extremely dysfunctional family. You've got the stripper mum, Deborah, being played by Sherry Moon Zombie, which is actually a good stripper name. You've also got the abusive stepdad, Ronnie, being played by William Forsythe. You've got a mean older sister, Judith, being played by Hannah Hall, who actually started out as young Jenny in Forrest Gump. And obviously you've got the masked child, Mike Myers. Now, set on Halloween, Michael is being tormented in the toilets by a school bully. So naturally he goes on a killing spree, as you do, killing everybody apart from his mother and his baby sister. He doesn't kill his mother because she's at work. He's then tried, convicted and sent to a sanitarium under the watchful eye of Dr. Loomis, who's being played by Malcolm McDowell, who actually has a striking resemblance to his stepdad. Then you cut to 15 years later. His mother has since taken her own life through guilt. Michael's grown into this hulk of a man, being played by Tyler Main, who is in fact 6'8" in real life. Huge guy. And eventually he escapes whilst the guards are raping a female inmate in his cell, and he heads back to his child home town and his house, because he's trying to look for his sister, his baby sister, who's currently living there. She's now obviously grown up and she's been adopted, and she's now known as Laurie Strode, and she's being played by Scott Taylor Compton. And I'm not going to say any more, but I will mention it also stars Danny Trejo as a prison guard, Dee Wallace from E.T. as Laurie's new mother, and you've got Brad Dourif as well as her local sheriff. And I thought this was a solid remake. Okay, not necessary, but I did enjoy it. More gore than the first one, but not as good. It does have some standout moments though, I've got to say that. I've got to give it its dues. The picture quality is excellent, couldn't fault that at all. The version I watched had a runtime of 2 hours and 1 minute, and I'll take a look inside that one after we've looked at the sequel. Okay, Halloween 2, the sequel from 2009, picks up immediately where the first film left off. We got a bloodied Laurie Strode, again being played by Scout Taylor Compton. She's walking down the middle of the street after a violent encounter with her brother Michael. She's taken to hospital by the Sheriff Brackett, and that's again played by Brad Dourif. Michael is presumed dead. He's taken away in a meat wagon, but that strikes a cow on the way, enabling him to escape. And then we find ourselves at a hospital moments later. A nurse played by Octavia Spencer in a cameo role is sliced to bits by Michael as he's made his way to Haddonfield Hospital in search for his still screaming sister. Now, some of this could have been a dream sequence. It is not made exactly clear in the movie. Cut to a year later, Laurie's now living with the sheriff and seeing a psychiatrist called Barbara, being played by Margot Kidder, aka Lois Lane. Sherry Moon Zombie is back as Laurie and Michael's mother, enduring some hallucination scenes which seem a little bit unnecessary, probably put in because she's married to the director. Malcolm McDowell, he reprises his roles as Dr. Loomis. He's now written a book on Michael's condition, which doesn't go down well with the public, gotta say. Now, this is as gory as the 2007 Halloween movie, but somehow not as good. Picture quality again, crystal clear, and we delve much more deeper into the character development. Which version I watched? I think it was the director's cut, ran at 1 hour 59 minutes. I'll have to check. Let's take a look inside. So the slip box and the cover have exactly the same image, and yes, it was the director's cut I watched on Halloween 2. Okay, so this is a 4-disc set. We got the director's unrated cut there. We got a bonus disc here. We have Halloween 2, the director's cut, and then we have the theatrical cuts 1 and 2 on this disc. And on the reverse of the cover, we have an image of Michael and the credits. So that was Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. Okay, next film is My Summer of Love. It's a coming-of-age drama by Polish director Paweł Pawlikowski, and this one stars Natalie Press as Mona. You may know Natalie from the 2015 film Suffragettes, where in this she lives with her brother, who is an ex-con turned Christian named Phil, being played by Paddy Considine. Now you'll know him from Journeyman, Hot Fuzz, World's End. He's been in a lot of stuff. Together they live in a pub called The Swan, and he is slowly converting it into a Christian meeting house by removing all the alcohol, not to mention building this massive cross that he's going to take up the hill and place it there to overlook the gangster state below. Now Natalie makes friends with a young woman called Tasmin, being played by Emily Blunt, who was only 21 years old when they filmed this, and she lives a very different lifestyle. Huge house in the country, she drinks wine, rides horses, but they do seem to have a common interest and they hit it off. Natalie is struggling with her boring life, and she likes to mock her brother in front of his new congregation. Two girls bond further when Tasmin tells Mona that her father's cheating on her mother and that her sister died from an eating disorder, and this later leads to a sexual relationship between the pair of them. But it brings into question, can Tasmin be trusted? This was filmed in just 5 weeks with a $1.5 million budget. Pitch quality is alright, it's not sharp, it is good on close-ups, detailing is good. Story was how I expected for a coming-of-age drama, and the performances were all good from everybody concerned. It's got a runtime of 1 hour 27 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So the slip box and the cover have a different image. There's an image on the disc there of Emily Blunt's character Tasmin. And on the reverse of the cover you have an image there of the two girls while the brother is taking the cross up the hill. So that was My Summer of Love. Okay, so next one they sent me is a TV miniseries called Bodyguard, and I'll talk about this in a little bit more detail next week as I've not had time to watch it yet. It's a good 6 hours long, so I'll go into that in a little bit more detail next Monday. Okay, next one to show you is a gift from my children for Father's Day, and they ordered this through Imprint Films. It is a 9-movie box set of the Jesse Stone detective movies. These are TV movies that are based on books by Robert B. Parker, and it stars Tom Selleck as the title character Jesse Stone. He's a flawed man, ex-minor league baseball player whose shoulder injury forces him to change careers. Goes on to become a homicide detective, but he develops this drinking problem after his divorce, and then he is reassigned as a result and ends up in Paradise, which is a fictional town in Massachusetts. Smallish town, but there's an awful lot of crime going on. Each of these films are directed by Robert Harmon, who actually directed the 1986 film Hitcher, except obviously for Innocence Lost, which was directed by Dick Lowry. Now all the music in all the films were composed by Jeff Beal, and other actors in the franchise includes William Devaney as Jesse's therapist, William Sadler as a local crime boss who Jesse tolerates as he often helps him with information on crimes. There's also Viola Davis in this as Officer Molly Crane. You've also got Saul Rubinek, Kathy Baker, Cole Suddiff and Stephen McHattie. 9 films in this set. You got Stone Cold from 2005, Night Passage 2006, which was actually set before Stone Cold, Death in Paradise from 2006, Sea Change from 2007, Thin Ice from 2009, No Remorse from 2010, Innocence Lost from 2011, Benefit of the Doubt from 2012, and last but not least, Lost in Paradise from 2015. I've watched every single one, thoroughly enjoyed them. Picture quality is not the best as they're TV movies, filmed for TV. Total runtime 13 hours 9 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So as you can see, there are 2 Amaray cases in here, and they've split the films into 2. There's 3 films on one and 6 on the other, and we're going to start with volume 2 because they contain the first films. So I'm going to start off with volume 2, which has the first 6 films. Now each movie has its own disc, just a plain black disc with a title on. That's that one. And on the reverse of the cover there is a list of credits for each movie. And on volume 1 you have the final 3 films. Again, each movie has its own disc, and it's a plain black disc with the title. And as with volume 2, on the reverse you have a list of the credits. So that was a 9-film box set of the Jesse Stone movies. This is a complete franchise. Chuffed to bits to have this in my collection. Love these movies. I've seen them a few times now. Tom Selleck, what a great actor he is. Okay, next one to show you, which is new out today, is All Quiet on the Western Front. This is a war movie from last year, and this is the third adaptation of the 1929 novel with the same name. First one was made in 1930, the second one a TV movie from 1979. Now this is an anti-war film directed by Edward Berger, and this was originally shown on Netflix. Quite unique, as you don't often, if at all, see a warts and all war film from a German soldier's point of view. So we've all seen English war films, we've all seen American war films, so this is different in that respect. Now the film follows this fresh-faced German teenage soldier called Paul Baumer, who's being played by Felix Kammerer, as he heads off to the war completely naive, full of hope and glory of the war, without any idea of the horrors that are waiting for him. He's sent immediately to the trenches in France, where reality hits hard, especially when his friend Ludwig is killed on the first night. This also stars Daniel Bull as Matthias Erzberger, who is trying to convince the High Command to start the armistice talks before there's any more bloodshed on either side. Haunting score is from Volker Betterman, and it's got a massive runtime of 148 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So the image on the disc is from the back cover, and on the reverse of the cover they have removed the age logos from the front. So that was All Quiet on the Western Front. Next one to show you is Avatar: Way of Water, a 3D version. This is a Disney Buena Vista movie from last year, and I did manage to see this in the cinema and I enjoyed it for the most part. I think I'll enjoy it a little bit more at home because the cinema audiences in Brighton are just ridiculous. They're so annoying. They chat on their phones or they're just chatting in general. What is wrong with people? So I'm looking forward to revisiting it. Co-written, co-produced, co-edited, but solely directed by James Cameron. This long-awaited sequel, 13 years, took 2.3 billion at the box office, and there's 3 more sequels being produced. Next one's December 2025, and then 2029, and then 2031. Now the story is as simple as it gets. Humans have returned for various desired alien resources, and the indigenous Na'vi have to retreat but eventually fight for survival, with a few subplots along the way. This sees the return of Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver and Stephen Lang, and a new face to this franchise, Kate Winslet. And the music is provided by Simon Fraglan, who worked with James Horner on both Cameron titles, Titanic and the first Avatar movie, but now he's working solo on this and all the sequels. Now this has got a whopper of a runtime of 192 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So the slipcover and the cover have the same image. Okay, there's 4 discs and each one has an image on it. The 3D has been split onto 2 different discs. Then you got the regular movie and you have the bonus features. So that was Avatar: The Way of Water 3D. Okay, next and last is a World War II movie from 1966 called Triple Cross. This is directed by Terence Young, who you may know directed the first 2 James Bond movies, Dr. No and From Russia with Love. Now this stars the brilliant Christopher Plummer as Eddie Chapman, who is a safe thief and he gets caught, sent to prison for 15 years in Jersey, and that happens around about the time World War II is declared. So obviously Jersey then comes under German occupancy. He joins up as a spy for them rather than die behind bars. His death is faked by the army, and then he's sent to France to be trained in espionage. And he's kept an eye on by Colonel Baron von Grunen, who's being played by Yul Brynner from Westworld the movie and Magnificent Seven. He's also been observed by a Colonel Steinhagen, and he's being played by Gerhard Fruber. Now you're going to know him from Goldfinger because he was Goldfinger in that. He was also Baron Bombburst in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Now Eddie's loyalty at first is tested before his real mission, and then he's eventually airdropped into England by parachute and expected to do his duty for the German army, but instead he heads straight to the English HQ and turns triple agent. Good man. Countess Lindström is being played by Romney Schneider, and that's Eddie's love interest back in Germany. And you've also got Trevor Howard, who stars as an officer of the British intelligence. It's got a runtime of 134 minutes. Let's take a look inside. So that front cover image has been put onto the disc. And as with this one, you can reverse the cover and have the age logo removed from the front. So that was Triple Cross. So that was it. Have you seen any of those or plan to pick them up or just want to leave a comment, then do so down below. I will read every single one and try to reply if I have the time. Give the video a thumbs up, really does help the channel, and subscribe if you haven't. It's all free, why wouldn't you? And on that note, all it's left to say is thank you so much for choosing my channel today and watching my video. Take care. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.